She took her only daughter to a pediatric clinic and runs into her billionaire CEO X, the daughter's father. The evaluation room at the Hawthorne Center for Pediatric Advancement smelled like antiseptic and hope. Maya Jama stood with one hand resting on her daughter's narrow shoulder, watching Dr. Aris Thorne make notes on his tablet. Ilara sat on the examination table, her small legs dangling, clutching the worn stuffed bunny she called Bun Bun. The bunny's ears were matted from years of love and comfort during difficult nights. "She's responding beautifully to the preliminary assessments," Dr. Thorne said, his voice warm with genuine encouragement. "I think Ilara is an excellent candidate for our intensive therapy program." Maya's throat tightened with relief. 6 years of struggle, of watching her daughter face challenges that no child should endure, of selling everything she owned piece by piece to afford treatments. It had all led to this moment. The Hawthorne Center wasn't just a medical facility, it was a lifeline. "Thank you," Maya whispered, squeezing Ilara's shoulder gently. "You have no idea what this means to us." Ilara looked up at her mother with those bright, curious eyes that saw the world differently than other children. "Does this mean my legs will get stronger, Mummy?" "It means we're going to try our very best, sweetheart," Maya replied, brushing a strand of dark, wavy hair from her daughter's face. Dr. Thorne smiled at the exchange. "The resources here are truly remarkable. Mr. Hemsworth has been incredibly dedicated to ensuring we have everything we need. He takes a personal interest in the work we do." Maya's blood ran cold at the mention of that name. Hemsworth. She'd seen it on the bronze plaque in the hallway when they first arrived. She'd told herself it was a coincidence, that there had to be thousands of people with that surname. But now, hearing it spoken aloud in connection with this place, the careful walls she'd built around her past began to crack. "Mr. Hemsworth is very hands-on?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "More than most people realize," Dr. Thorne replied. "He funds this entire wing personally. Sometimes he visits to see how the children are progressing. In fact," the door opened. Time fractured into slow motion. Maya's heart stopped beating. Her vision narrowed to the figure standing in the doorway. Harry Hemsworth. He looked different from the man she'd loved 6 years ago. His shoulders were broader, carrying the weight of responsibility and success. The casual sweaters and worn jeans had been replaced by a perfectly tailored, charcoal suit that probably cost more than Maya's rent for 3 months. His dark hair was shorter, styled with precision. But his eyes, those storm-grey eyes that had once looked at her like she was his entire world, those hadn't changed. He stepped into the room with the quiet confidence of a man who owned everything around him, including the building they stood in. His attention was initially on Dr. Thorne. "I hope I'm not interrupting," Harry said, his voice deeper than Maya remembered, polished by years of boardroom negotiations. "I wanted to check on the new kinetic sensors you mentioned." "Not at all, Mr. Hemsworth," Dr. Thorne replied. "We were just discussing treatment options for our newest patient." Harry's gaze shifted to the examination table, to the small girl sitting there with her bunny. He smiled, the practiced smile of a philanthropist meeting a child his foundation was helping. Then his eyes moved to the woman standing beside the table. The smile died on his lips. Every trace of color drained from his face. His hand reached out blindly, gripping the doorframe as if the ground had suddenly shifted beneath his feet. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He stared at Maya with the expression of a man who'd just seen a ghost rise from the grave. "Maya." The word came out as barely a whisper, broken and disbelieving. Maya couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Her hand tightened protectively on Ilara's shoulder. This wasn't supposed to happen. She'd convinced herself that a billionaire CEO wouldn't walk the halls of his own facility. She'd been so careful, so deliberate in keeping their lives separate from his world. Dr. Thorne looked between them, confusion crossing his features. "Do you two know each other?" Harry didn't answer. He took a hesitant step forward, his eyes never leaving Maya's face. She watched the recognition war with shock, watched 6 years of questions flood into his expression. His gaze dropped to the little girl on the table, and Maya saw the exact moment everything changed. Ilara looked up at the tall stranger who'd made her mummy go very still and quiet. She tilted her head, studying him with the innocent curiosity of a 5-year-old. Harry stared at her, really looked at her, at the cascade of dark, wavy hair that mirrored her mother's, at the shape of her eyes, the curve of her small nose. And then he saw it, the dimple in her chin that appeared when she smiled, the same dimple he saw in the mirror every morning. His hand came up to his own face, touching that dimple as if confirming it was real. His chest rose and fell with rapid, shallow breaths. The color that had drained from his face returned in a rush of red. "Hi," Ilara said brightly, holding up Bun Bun. "My name is Ilara. This is Bun Bun. Are you the man who helps sick kids? Mommy said angels work here." The words seemed to hit Harry like physical blows. His eyes filled with moisture. He looked from the child to Maya, then back again, his jaw working soundlessly. The powerful CEO who commanded billion-dollar companies and built medical centers had been reduced to a man who couldn't form a single coherent sentence. "Have you ever kept a secret so big it became your whole life?" Maya had carried this truth for 6 years, protecting it, hiding it, nurturing it in the form of the beautiful girl sitting on the examination table. What happens when that secret comes face to face with the one person you've been hiding it from? The room had gone absolutely silent. Dr. Thorne stood frozen, sensing the gravity of something he couldn't quite understand. Maya's heart hammered so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. Harry's voice, when it finally came, was raw and shaking. "Maya." He couldn't seem to say anything else. His eyes moved to Ilara again, drinking in every detail of her face. The questions burning in his gaze were almost tangible. Maya watched his CEO composure completely shatter. She saw the realization crystallizing in his expression, saw the mathematical calculation happening behind his eyes. 6 years, the child's age, the resemblance that couldn't be denied. "How old is she?" he asked, his voice breaking on the last word. The question hung in the sterile air like an accusation, a plea, a prayer. Would you have done the same thing? Would you have kept the secret if you thought you were protecting your child from becoming an obligation, a complication in someone else's carefully constructed life? Maya opened her mouth, but before she could speak, Ilara piped up with the innocent honesty of a child who didn't understand the earthquake happening around her. "I'm 5. My birthday was last month. Mommy made me a cake shaped like a castle. 5 years old." Harry's knees seemed to buckle slightly. He steadied himself against the wall, his breathing ragged. His eyes found Maya's, and in them she saw betrayal, hurt, confusion, and something else, a desperate, aching hope. "Is she—" He couldn't finish the question, couldn't bring himself to say the words that would change everything. If you're already hooked, subscribe to Mr. Steele Rich Stories right now. Hit that bell. This story is about to get intense. The silence stretched. Dr. Thorne quietly excused himself, sensing this was a conversation that didn't need witnesses. The door clicked shut behind him, leaving the 3 of them alone. Stay tuned to find out if love can survive 6 years of silence, if forgiveness is possible when the truth finally comes to light, and whether a family torn apart by circumstance can ever be whole again. Maya took a deep breath, looked at the man who had once been her entire world, at the daughter, who had become it, and prepared to speak the words that would detonate both their lives forever. The pawn shop on Fletcher Street had seen better days, just like everything Maya owned. She stood at the scratched glass counter, watching Mr. Chen examine her grandmother's silver bracelet through his jeweler's loop. The overhead fan creaked with each rotation, stirring the stale air that smelled of old leather and desperation. $50, Mr. Chen said without looking up. Maya's stomach dropped. "It's sterling silver. My grandmother wore it at her wedding. It has to be worth more than that." Mr. Chen set down the loop and gave her the sympathetic look she'd come to recognize everywhere she went. The look that said, "I know you're struggling, but I have a business to run. $50 is fair. Take it or leave it." Maya thought of the stack of envelopes on her kitchen counter, each one stamped with red letters. Final notice. She thought of Ilara's medication that cost $200 a bottle. She thought of their car, currently sitting in front of their apartment, building with a check engine light that had been glowing for 3 weeks. "I'll take it," she whispered. Mr. Chen counted out 5 $10 bills and slid them across the counter. Maya picked them up with trembling fingers, trying not to think about her grandmother's hands wearing that same bracelet, about the history she was selling for grocery money. Outside, the afternoon sun felt too bright, too cheerful for how hollow she felt inside. She walked 3 blocks to the pharmacy, picked up Ilara's prescription, and watched her meager cash dwindle to $17.36. The walk home took 20 minutes because the car wasn't trustworthy for even short distances anymore. Her apartment building came into view, a tired structure with peeling paint and a landlord who'd started leaving pointed notes about late rent under her door. She climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, her legs aching from the long walk. Inside apartment 3C, she found her neighbor, Mrs. Chen, no relation to the pawn shop owner, watching Ilara. The little girl was on the living room floor, surrounded by crayons and paper, drawing what looked like a skyscraper. Mummy. Ilara's face lit up with pure joy, the kind of happiness that made every sacrifice worth it. Maya knelt down and pulled her daughter into her arms, breathing in the scent of the chamomile lotion she used on Ilara's skin after physical therapy. "Hi, baby. What are you drawing?" "A building that touches the sky," Ilara said proudly. "With an elevator for people whose legs get tired like mine." Maya's heart clenched. At 5 years old, her daughter was already designing a world more accommodating than the one she'd been born into. After Mrs. Chen left, Maya made dinner, spaghetti for the 3rd time that week because pasta was cheap and filling. While Ilara ate, humming tunelessly, Maya opened the mail she'd been avoiding all day. Medical bill, overdue electric notice. And then, at the bottom of the stack, a cream-colored envelope with an embossed logo. Her hands shook as she opened it. "Dear Ms. Jama, we are pleased to inform you that Ilara Jama has been accepted into the Hawthorne Center for Pediatric Advancement's Intensive Therapy Program. After careful review of her medical records and evaluation results, our team believes she is an ideal candidate for our neuromuscular rehabilitation program." Maya read the words 3 times, certain she was misunderstanding. She'd applied 6 months ago, along with applications to 17 other programs. The Hawthorne Center was the most prestigious pediatric facility in the state, possibly the country. She'd never actually believed they'd get in. The program begins next month and includes comprehensive physical therapy, occupational therapy, and access to our research division's latest treatment protocols. We have also secured funding to cover the full cost of Ilara's treatment through our Foundation's scholarship program. The paper slipped from Maya's fingers and floated to the kitchen floor. She pressed both hands to her mouth, trying to contain the sob building in her chest. Full funding. Comprehensive treatment. The words blurred as tears filled her eyes. This was the miracle she'd been praying for. "Mummy, why are you crying?" Ilara's concerned voice cut through her shock. Maya scooped her daughter up, holding her close. "Happy tears, baby. The best kind. Remember the special doctor's place I told you about? The one with the therapy pool and the special equipment?" Ilara nodded against her shoulder. "They said yes. They want to help you." That night, after Ilara was asleep, Maya sat on her worn couch with her laptop balanced on her knees. She pulled up the Hawthorne Center's website, needing to see it was real, needing to understand what they were walking into. The homepage showed a gleaming glass and steel structure, children smiling in state of the art therapy rooms, doctors who looked like they'd stepped out of medical journals. She clicked through the pages. Our mission, our team, our facilities. Then she found the donor page, for Hemsworth Family Wing, dedicated to the relentless spirit of children. Funded by the generous contributions of the Hemsworth Foundation under the leadership of its founder and CEO, Harry Hemsworth. Maya's finger froze on the trackpad. The name stared back at her from the screen like an accusation. Below it was a professional photograph, Harry in a suit, older but unmistakably him, standing in front of the very building where Ilara would receive treatment. Her mouth went dry. Her vision swam. It couldn't be. There had to be other people with that name. It was a big city, a common enough surname. But even as Maya tried to rationalize it, she clicked on his name. A biography page loaded, complete with his professional history. Harvard Business School. Founded Hemsworth Technologies at 20-6. Took the company public 5 years ago. Current net worth estimated at $2.8 billion. And there, in the personal section, Mr. Hemsworth established the Hemsworth Foundation, following his father's death, with a focus on pediatric medicine and research. His father. Maya remembered the phone call when Harry had told her his father was sick, remembered how his voice had changed, how the weight of family obligation had crushed the future they'd been building together. She slammed the laptop shut and stood up, pacing the small living room. Her rational mind took over. The Hawthorne Center was huge, probably hundreds of employees, dozens of patients at any given time. Harry was a billionaire CEO. He didn't walk the halls checking on individual cases. He wrote checks and attended fundraising galas. That was it. The chances of them crossing paths were astronomical. Besides, even if by some terrible coincidence they did run into each other, what would happen? 6 years had passed. He'd moved on, built an empire, probably had a wife and children of his own by now. She was just another chapter in his past, long forgotten. But Ilara was undeniable. Anyone who looked at her could see. Maya pushed the thought away violently. It didn't matter. Harry had made his choice when he'd ended things. She'd made hers when she'd decided not to tell him about the pregnancy. They were strangers now, connected only by a building full of medical equipment and hope. She would take Ilara to the appointment. They would get the treatment her daughter desperately needed. And if by some impossibly unlucky chance she saw Harry, she would handle it. Somehow. Maya returned to the couch and opened her laptop again. She spent the next hour reading everything she could about Ilara's condition, about the Hawthorne Center's success rates, about the therapy protocols they used. She read parent testimonials that made her cry and research papers that gave her hope. She deliberately avoided clicking on Harry's name again. At midnight, she finally closed the laptop and went to check on Ilara. Her daughter slept peacefully, her small chest rising and falling, bun tucked under her chin. Maya brushed a kiss against her forehead. "We're going to get you better, baby," she whispered. "Whatever it takes. Even if it meant walking into the building funded by the man whose heart she once held, who'd held hers, who had a daughter he didn't know existed." The morning of the appointment, Maya's hands wouldn't stop shaking. She dressed Ilara in her favorite purple dress, the one with flowers embroidered around the hem. She packed Bun, Ilara's sketch pad, and an extra set of clothes in case the physical evaluation required changing. Their neighbor, Mr. Rodriguez, had agreed to let her borrow his car for the day. It was older than hers, but actually functional. She strapped Ilara into the car seat she'd transferred from their broken down vehicle and took 3 deep breaths before starting the engine. "Are you nervous, Mommy?" Ilara asked from the back seat. Maya met her daughter's eyes in the rearview mirror. "A little. Are you?" "No. I'm excited. Dr. Google said they have a pool with special exercises." "Dr. Google? That's what I call the computer when you let me watch videos about the therapy place." Despite her anxiety, Maya smiled. Her daughter's resilience never ceased to amaze her. The drive took 40 minutes. With each passing mile, Maya's heart rate increased. She gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. When the Hawthorne Center finally came into view, she almost pulled over to turn around. The building was magnificent, all glass and steel, modern architecture that seemed to reach toward the sky. Beautifully landscaped grounds surrounded it, with gardens clearly designed for accessibility, wide paths, gentle slopes, benches placed at regular intervals. Maya pulled into the visitor parking lot and sat there for a full minute, staring at the structure that represented both hope and potential disaster. "Mommy, can we go in now?" Ilara's voice snapped her back to reality. She was being ridiculous. This was about her daughter, not about ancient history with a man who'd forgotten she existed. "Yes, baby. Let's go." She lifted Ilara from the car seat, settled her on her hip, and walked toward the entrance. The automatic doors slid open with a soft whoosh. Inside, the lobby took her breath away. Soaring ceilings, natural light pouring through skylights, colorful artwork, on the walls, all of it designed to feel welcoming rather than clinical. A kind-faced woman at the reception desk directed them to the pediatric wing on the 3rd floor. They took the elevator up, Elara chattering excitedly about everything she saw. Then Maya saw it. At the entrance to the pediatric wing, mounted on the wall in a position impossible to miss, was a large bronze plaque with engraved lettering, and dedicated to the relentless spirit of children, and funded by the generous contributions of the Hemsworth Foundation, under the leadership of its founder and CEO, Harry Hemsworth. Below the text was a dedication date from 4 years ago, and below that, a quote, "Every child deserves the chance to reach their full potential, regardless of circumstance." Maya's vision narrowed. Her breathing became shallow. The hallway seemed to tilt, and she had to put Elara down and lean against the wall to keep from collapsing. "Mummy." Elara's worried voice sounded far away. "I'm okay, sweetheart. Just give Mummy a second." It was real. All of it. This wasn't just a building with his name on a donor list. This was his project, his passion, his legacy. The wing they were standing in existed because of him. A nurse approached, concerned on her face. "Are you all right? Do you need to sit down?" Maya shook her head, forcing herself to straighten up. "I'm fine, just a little dizzy." Low blood sugar. The lie came easily. Everything would be fine. The building had multiple floors, dozens of rooms, and countless staff members. The odds of Harry being here, today, at this exact time, were infinitesimal. The nurse led them to a comfortable waiting area with child-sized furniture and toys. Other parents sat with their children, some filling out paperwork, others watching their kids play. It felt normal, safe. A young woman with a tablet called Elara's name. "We're ready for you." Maya followed her down a corridor lined with photographs of smiling children. Success stories, the woman explained. Former patients who'd gone through the program and thrived. Each photo had a small plaque with a child's name and their achievement. Tommy, now playing soccer competitively. Emma, accepted to dance academy. Michael, completed his first 5K run. Hope bloomed in Maya's chest, despite her anxiety. These children had faced challenges like Elara's and overcame them. Her daughter could be one of these success stories. The woman opened a door to a spacious evaluation room filled with equipment Maya didn't recognize. A man in a white coat stood by a computer monitor, reviewing charts. He turned and smiled warmly. "Hello. You must be Elara. I'm Dr. Aris Thome. And you must be Mom." He shook Maya's hand with genuine warmth, then knelt down to Elara's level. "Is that Bun? I've read in your file that Bun is very important." Dr. Thome's evaluation was thorough but gentle. He turned every test into a game, making Elara laugh even during the more difficult assessments. He measured her range of motion, her muscle response, her coordination. He asked questions about her daily routine, her pain levels, her favorite activities. Maya answered everything honestly, watching her daughter trust this kind stranger with the ease that came from being around medical professionals her entire young life. "You're doing wonderfully, Elara," Dr. Thorne said, making notes on his tablet. "I can see why our selection committee was so impressed with your case." He turned to Maya, his expression shifting to professional optimism. "Your daughter is an excellent candidate for our intensive program. Her condition is challenging, but we've seen remarkable progress with similar cases. The new protocols we're developing show real promise." "Thank you," Maya managed, her throat tight with emotion. "This place, it's more than I ever hoped for. We have resources here that most facilities don't," Dr. Thorne explained. "Mr. Hemsworth is very committed to ensuring we have the best equipment, the best staff, and the latest research. He takes a personal interest in the work we do." There it was again, his name. Maya's stomach clenched, but she kept her expression neutral. "He's very involved?" The question came out more strained than she intended. "More than you might expect from someone in his position," Dr. Thorne replied, still focused on his notes. "He doesn't just write checks. He visits regularly and knows some of our long-term patients by name. He's passionate about the work being done here. Maya's heart began to race. Visits regularly. Knows patients by name. In fact, Dr. Thorne continued, glancing at his watch, he mentioned this morning that he wanted to stop by today. Some potential donors are touring the facility, and he likes to show them the new kinetic sensors we just installed. They're right here in this room, actually. The words hit Maya like a physical blow. Here, today, this room. Before Maya could process what Dr. Thorne had just said, before she could grab Ilara and run, before she could make up an excuse about needing to reschedule, the door opened. Time seemed to fracture and slow. Maya turned toward the sound, her body moving through molasses, her heart hammering so hard she could feel it in her throat. And there he was. Harry Hemsworth stood in the doorway, every inch the billionaire CEO. The charcoal suit probably cost more than 3 months of Maya's rent. His hair was perfectly styled, his posture commanding. He carried himself with the confidence of a man who'd built an empire from nothing. But his eyes, those storm-grey eyes, hadn't changed at all. He was speaking to someone behind him, something about the specifications of the new equipment, his voice deeper and more polished than she remembered. Professional, authoritative. He stepped fully into the room, his attention still on Dr. Thorne, a polite smile on his face. The smile of a philanthropist visiting his facility, checking on his investment. "I hope I'm not interrupting," he said. "I wanted to see the new." Dr. Thorne completed Ilara's evaluation with Harry standing quietly in the corner, his eyes never leaving his daughter. He watched her complete motor skill tests, listened to her describe her daily pain. Levels in the matter-of-fact way children have of explaining difficult things. Every wince, every struggle, every moment where her body didn't cooperate with what her mind wanted, it all registered on his face like physical blows. When the evaluation concluded, Dr. Thorne smiled warmly at Ilara. "You did wonderfully. I'm going to start putting together a treatment plan for you." "With the purple pool?" Ilara asked hopefully. Definitely with the purple pool. Maya was gathering their things when Harry's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, typed something quickly, then looked at Maya. "Can we talk? Privately? There are things we need to discuss." Before Maya could answer, there was a knock at the door. A man in an expensive suit entered, carrying a leather briefcase. He was perhaps 50, with silver hair and the bearing of someone accustomed to high-stakes negotiations. Maya's stomach dropped. She recognized the type. Corporate lawyer. The kind who specialized in making problems disappear, who could bury people in paperwork and legal maneuvers they couldn't afford to fight. This was it. The custody battle she'd feared from the moment Harry's eyes had landed on Ilara. "Mr. Hemsworth," the lawyer said with a nod, "I have the documents you requested." Maya's hand instinctively reached for Ilara, pulling her daughter closer. Her mind raced through scenarios. Court battles she couldn't afford, lawyers she couldn't hire, a billionaire with unlimited resources against a freelance designer living paycheck to paycheck. Harry saw her reaction and immediately held up his hands. "Maya, wait. It's not what you think, isn't it?" Her voice came out sharper than intended. "You show up with a lawyer an hour after finding out you have a daughter. What am I supposed to think? Mummy." Ilara looked up at her, confused by the tension in her voice. "What's wrong?" Maya forced herself to take a breath. "Nothing, baby. Why don't you sit over there and draw for a few minutes? The grown-ups need to talk." Ilara hesitated, then took her sketchpad and settled into a chair by the window, though her eyes kept darting back to the adults. Harry turned to the lawyer. "Marcus, this is Maya Jama. Maya, this is Marcus Chen, my attorney. But he's not here for what you're thinking." "Then what's he here for?" Maya demanded, keeping her voice low so Ilara wouldn't hear the fear in it. Marcus set his briefcase on the counter and opened it, pulling out a stack of papers. "Mr. Hemsworth contacted me approximately 90 minutes ago with specific instructions. I've drawn up the documents he requested." Maya's hands clenched into fists. "What documents?" Harry stepped forward, his voice gentle but firm. "I'm not trying to take her from you, Maya. I could never do that. You're her mother. You've been everything to her. I'm not here to disrupt that. Marcus pulled out the first document and handed it to Maya. This is a medical expense agreement. Mr. Hemsworth wishes to assume all financial responsibility for Ilara's medical care, past, present, and future. Maya stared at the paper in her hands, the words swimming in front of her eyes. What? Every medical bill you've incurred for Ilara's care, Harry said quietly. The $247,000 in outstanding balances, the payment plans, everything. It's handled. And going forward, every treatment, every therapy session, every medication, every specialist consultation, all of it covered completely. Maya's legs felt weak. She leaned against the examination table for support. I can't accept. Yes, you can, Harry interrupted gently. She's my daughter. I should have been helping all along. I wasn't there because I didn't know, but I'm here now. There are no legal strings attached to this agreement, Marcus added in his professional tone. No custody implications, no requirements for visitation rights. Mr. Hemsworth is offering this support unconditionally. Maya looked up at Harry, searching his face for the catch, the hidden clause, the thing that would cost her more than money. Why? Because she's mine, Harry said simply. Because you've been carrying this weight alone for 5 years, and you shouldn't have to anymore. Because no child should go without treatment because of money, and especially not my child. Mr. Hemsworth, Marcus continued, has also established an educational trust fund for Ilara, and a general trust to ensure her financial security regardless of any future circumstances. The room tilted slightly. Maya gripped the edge of the table harder. This was too much, too fast. People didn't just write off hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Billionaires didn't hand out trust funds without expecting something in return. What do you want? Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. What's the condition? Harry met her eyes steadily. Just one thing. Let me know her, Harry said. That's all I'm asking. Let me be part of her life. Let me get to know my daughter. Maya stared at him, waiting for more. When nothing came, she shook her head. That's it? That's the only condition? That's it. Harry's voice was steady, but she could see the hope and fear warring in his eyes. I'm not asking for custody. I'm not asking you to upend your lives. I'm just asking for a chance to be in her world, however that looks, whatever pace you're comfortable with. If that means supervised visits once a week, fine. If it means I can take her for ice cream sometimes, better. If someday it means more, we'll figure it out together. You're a billionaire, Maya said, still unable to fully process what was happening. You could take me to court, fight for full custody. You have resources I can't even imagine. I could. Harry agreed. And I'd probably win, because money buys the best lawyers and the legal system isn't fair. But I won't, because that would destroy you, and destroy you, would hurt Ilara. Everything I do from this moment forward has to be about what's best for her, and what's best for her is having her mother happy and whole. Marcus cleared his throat gently. If I may, Ms. Jama, I've worked with Mr. Hemsworth for 8 years. I've never seen him more serious about anything. These documents are legally binding. He cannot use this financial support as leverage in any future custody proceeding. I made certain of that. Maya looked down at the papers in her hands, then over at Ilara, who was drawing contentedly by the window. There's something else I want to show you, Harry said. Both of you. If you'll come with me? Maya hesitated. Every instinct screamed at her to be cautious, to protect herself and Ilara from potential hurt. But she looked at Harry's face and saw only earnest hope. Okay, she said finally. They left the evaluation room, Marcus staying behind to finalize paperwork. Harry led them through corridors Maya hadn't seen yet, past therapy rooms and consultation offices. Ilara held Maya's hand, taking in everything with wide eyes. Where are we going? Ilara asked. I want to show you something, Harry told her. Something I've been working on. He stopped at a door near the end of a quiet hallway. The nameplate read, H. Hemsworth, Private Office. He unlocked it and pushed it open. The office was large, but not ostentatious. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the facility's gardens. A desk sat in one corner, neat and organized. But what dominated the room was a large conference table covered entirely in papers, books, and printouts. Maya stepped closer, and her breath caught. Medical journals, all bookmarked to articles about Ilara's specific condition. Printouts of research papers from universities around the world. Contact information for specialists in neuromuscular disorders from Boston, Switzerland, Tokyo. Treatment protocols, clinical trial information. Notes in Harry's handwriting covering page after page. I started researching the moment Dr. Thorne left us alone, Harry said quietly. Called in every favor I had to get specialists on the phone. I've been making calls for the past 3 hours. Maya picked up one of the journals. The margins were filled with Harry's notes, questions circled, passages highlighted. You did all this, in 3 hours. I had a lot of catching up to do, Harry said. 5 years worth. He moved to a whiteboard on the wall. It was covered in a timeline, treatment options mapped out, questions listed in neat columns. I called Dr. Yuki Tanaka in Tokyo, Harry continued, pointing to a name on his board. He's pioneering a new gene therapy approach for conditions like Ilara's. He's willing to consult remotely. Dr. Sarah Martinez in Boston runs the country's best neuromuscular program. She has a waiting list 2 years long, but she'll see Ilara next month. Maya couldn't speak. She just stared at the evidence of 3 hours of intensive work, of a father desperately trying to understand his child's condition, trying to fix what had been broken in her small body. Why? The word came out as a whisper. Harry turned to face her, and the raw vulnerability in his expression nearly broke her. You asked earlier about my failed marriage. Maya nodded, remembering his mention of an ex-wife. Her name was Victoria, senator's daughter, ambitious, intelligent. We got married 3 years ago. My board thought it was a good match, good for business, good for my public image. He laughed bitterly. It lasted 18 months. What happened? She wanted children. We tried. It didn't happen. Doctors ran tests and said there was no medical reason we couldn't conceive, that sometimes these things just take time. Harry's hands clenched. But the real problem wasn't medical. The real problem was that I couldn't let go of you. Maya's breath caught. I built this pediatric wing during our marriage, Harry continued. Told Victoria it was about giving back, about honoring my father's memory. But really, I built it because I thought I'd never have children of my own. Because the only woman I'd ever imagined having a family with was someone I'd lost. Harry. She left me because she said I was obsessed with the past. She was right. I was. I am. I spent our entire marriage comparing her to you. Looking for you in crowds. Checking my phone hoping your number would appear. It wasn't fair to her. Harry walked to the window, looking out at the gardens below. The Hemsworth family wing. Everyone assumed it was about my father's legacy. It was really about the family I thought I'd never have. You couldn't have known, Maya said softly. I know that now. But for 3 years, I poured everything into this place. Every child who came through those doors, every family I could help. It was like I was trying to fill a void I didn't fully understand. Victoria saw it, said I was using the facility to avoid dealing with my own life. He turned back to face Maya and Ilara. 2 months ago, the divorce was finalized. My lawyer asked what I wanted to do with my personal life now that I was free. You know what I told him? Maya shook her head. I told him to find you, gave him the private investigator's files, everything we'd compiled over the years. Told him I didn't care what it cost or how long it took. I needed to know if you were happy, if you'd found someone who gave you the life you deserved. I wasn't looking to be found, Maya whispered. I know. Harry's smile was sad. And then today happened. I walked into that evaluation room for a routine donor tour, and there you were, with a daughter, our daughter, a child I didn't know existed, who exists because of one night 6 years ago when I thought my world was ending and you were the only light in it. Ilara had been listening quietly, not understanding the adult emotions but sensing their importance. She tugged on Harry's sleeve. Mr. Harry, why does talking about me make you look so sad and so happy at the same time? Harry knelt down to Ilara's level, his eyes bright with unshed tears. Because sometimes the best surprises come when you're not expecting them, and it makes you feel everything all at once. Ilara nodded, as if this made perfect sense. She opened her mouth to respond, but suddenly her face contorted. Her left leg buckled, and she gasped in pain. Ilara! Maya dropped to her knees, catching her daughter before she fell. "It hurts, Mommy," Ilara whimpered, clutching at her calf. "It hurts really bad." Maya knew this pattern. Muscle spasms brought on by overexertion. They'd walked more today than usual, and Ilara's legs were protesting. She needed to get her daughter sitting down, needed to massage the muscle, apply heat, possibly give her medication. But before Maya could move, Harry was there. "Left calf, correct?" he asked, his voice calm and focused. "Sudden onset spasm." Maya looked at him in shock. "How did you—" I read her file. Every page. Harry was already gently lifting Ilara, carrying her to the leather couch in his office. "There's a heating pad in the cabinet over there, top shelf. The massage technique is described in her physical therapy notes. Gentle. Pressure, circular motions, starting distal and moving proximal." Maya stood frozen as Harry laid Ilara down carefully, supporting her leg. He retrieved the heating pad himself, plugged it in, and adjusted it to the right temperature before placing it on her calf. "I know it hurts, sweetheart," he told Ilara gently, "but it's going to get better in just a minute. Your mom is going to help, and I'm going to get your medicine. It's in your bag, right?" This last part was directed at Maya. She nodded mutely, reaching for her purse. Harry found the medication, checked the dosage against what he'd clearly memorized from her files, and handed Maya the correct amount with a small cup of water. Maya administered the medication while Harry kept the heating pad in place. Then, following the technique described in Ilara's therapy notes he'd apparently committed to memory in 3 hours, he began massaging her calf with gentle, precise movements. "You're doing great, Ilara," he murmured. "Just breathe through it, in and out. That's it." Ilara's whimpers gradually quieted. The medication and massage were working. Within 5 minutes, the spasm had released, and she was breathing normally again, though tears still tracked down her cheeks. "Better?" Harry asked softly. Ilara nodded. "You knew what to do." "Your mom's notes were very detailed," Harry said, glancing at Maya. "She's been taking care of you for a long time. She knows exactly what you need." Maya felt something crack in her chest. This man, this billionaire CEO who could buy anything, fix anything with money, had spent his afternoon learning how to actually help his daughter. Not throwing money at the problem, but understanding it, studying it, preparing himself to be useful. He'd memorized medication dosages, learned massage techniques, researched her condition so thoroughly that he could respond to a crisis without hesitation. This wasn't about wealth or power or control. This was about a father desperate to care for a child he'd just discovered. "Thank you," Maya said quietly. Harry looked up at her, his hand still resting protectively on Ilara's leg. For what? For wanting to know. Not just wanting to help, but wanting to actually know her, to understand. Harry stood slowly, giving Ilara's hand a gentle squeeze before moving to where Maya stood. They were close enough that she could see the exhaustion in his eyes, the emotion he was barely holding back. "I meant what I said," Harry told her quietly. "I'm not here to take over or push you out. I just want to be part of this, part of her life. However you'll let me." Maya looked at her daughter, resting comfortably on the couch now. The crisis had passed. She thought about the past 5 years, the sleepless nights, the financial terror, the weight of doing everything alone. She thought about Harry's research-covered table, his memorized medication, dosages, the way he'd handled Ilara's episode without panic. She thought about Ilara asking why other kids had daddies. "Okay," Maya heard herself say. Harry's eyes widened. "Okay?" Slowly, Maya added firmly, "We do this slowly, carefully. Ilara's been through enough upheaval with her condition. We don't just drop a bomb on her, that suddenly she has a father. Of course, whatever pace you're comfortable with, you can visit. Spend time with her, but as a friend for now, not as—" She couldn't finish the sentence. "I understand," Harry said, "as her mom's friend who wants to help. Until we figure out the right time and way to tell her the truth." Maya nodded, relief flooding through her that he understood. "And if at any point this isn't working, then we stop and reassess," Harry finished. "Maya, I'm not going to do anything that hurts either of you. That's a promise." They stood in silence for a moment, the weight of the agreement settling between them. "So we agreed?" Harry asked. "I see her?" "Spend time with both of you?" "Yes," Maya said, "but we need to be on the same page about the truth. We don't tell Ilara you're her father until we're both ready, until we're sure she can handle it emotionally." Harry glanced at Ilara, who was now humming softly to herself, the pain episode already fading into her resilient child's memory. "She'll ask questions eventually. She's too smart not to notice." "I know," Maya said, "but for now, you're Mr. Harry, the nice man who helps sick kids and wants to be our friend." "Mr. Harry," he repeated, testing the name. A small smile touched his lips. "I can work with that." "And Harry?" Maya added, her voice softer. "Thank you. For the medical coverage, for the research, for wanting this." "Thank you," Harry replied, his eyes locked on hers, "for giving me a chance I don't deserve." The first visit happened 3 days after their agreement. Harry arrived at Maya's apartment building on Saturday morning, carrying a bag from a local bakery and looking decidedly un-CEO-like in jeans and a simple navy sweater. Maya opened the door to find him standing there, nervous energy radiating off him like heat. "I wasn't sure what she liked, so I got an assortment. Muffins, donuts, some of those Danish things with fruit." "You didn't have to bring food," Maya said, but she was already reaching for the bag because the smell of fresh pastries was making her stomach growl. She'd been living on coffee and whatever Ilara didn't finish at meals. "I wanted to—" Harry stepped inside when she gestured him in, his eyes immediately searching for Ilara. She was on the living room floor in her pajamas, surrounded by her usual morning setup, sketch paper, crayons, and bun, standing guard over the proceedings. When she saw Harry, her face lit up. "Mr. Harry, you came to visit." "I did. I hope that's okay." "It's very okay. Look what I drew." She held up a picture of the Hawthorne Center, complete with the purple therapy pool, and stick figures that Maya assumed were meant to be her, Dr. Thorne, and Harry. Harry knelt down beside her, studying the drawing with genuine interest. "This is incredible, Ilara. You got all the windows right on the building. That's really hard to do. Mommy teaches me about buildings. She says every window is important because it lets light in for people inside." "Your mommy is very smart," Harry said, glancing up at Maya with an expression that made her heart skip. Maya busied herself with plates for the pastries, trying to ignore the flutter in her chest. This was about Ilara, she reminded herself, not about the way Harry looked at her like she was still someone worth looking at after everything. That first visit lasted 4 hours. Harry sat on the floor with Ilara, learning about her favorite cartoons, helping her color, listening with rapt attention, as she explained her elaborate imaginary world where buildings could talk and everyone had special elevators. Maya watched from the kitchen, pretending to do dishes that didn't need doing. She watched Harry learn that Ilara liked her sandwiches cut in triangles, not rectangles, that she needed her medication taken with apple juice, never water, because water made her gag, that when her legs started hurting, she got quiet and still rather than complaining. "Does it hurt now?" Harry asked gently when Ilara stopped coloring mid-stroke. She nodded, her little face scrunched up with the effort of not crying. "Okay. What helps? Heat? Massage? Medicine?" "Heat first," Ilara said. "Then maybe medicine if it doesn't stop." Harry looked to Maya for permission. She nodded and showed him where the heating pad was kept, watched him warm it to the right temperature and place it carefully on Ilara's calf. "Better?" he asked after a few minutes. "Better," Ilara confirmed. "Thank you, Mr. Harry." The second visit was 2 days later, after Ilara's physical therapy session. Harry met them at the Hawthorne Centre, bringing her favourite juice, boxes, and a new sketchbook with professional-grade coloured pencils. "These are too expensive," Maya protested quietly, while Ilara explored the pencil set with awe. "She's an artist," Harry said simply. "Artists need good tools." By the third visit, Harry knew Ilara's entire routine. He knew she needed extra time in the morning because her muscles were stiff. He knew Tuesday and Thursday were therapy days, and she was always extra tired afterward. He knew she had nightmares sometimes about not being able to walk, and that singing to her helped. "How did you know she likes that song?" Maya asked one evening when Harry was putting Ilara down for a nap, singing softly about sunshine and rainbows. "I asked her," Harry said simply, "and I remembered." It was the remembering that got to Maya. The way he absorbed every detail about Ilara, as if each piece of information was precious. The CEO who commanded boardrooms and closed billion-dollar deals disappeared entirely when he was with Ilara. In his place was someone Maya had never seen before, a man who sat cross-legged on apartment floors, who didn't flinch when sticky fingers touched his expensive watch, who wore stickers on his shirt like badges of honor. "You're good at this," Maya said one afternoon, during his second week of visits. They were in the kitchen while Ilara napped, speaking in hushed tones over coffee. Harry looked surprised. At what? Being present with her. "A lot of people get uncomfortable around kids with medical issues. They don't know what to say or do." "She's not her medical issues," Harry said quietly. "She's a smart, funny, creative little girl who happens to have a condition that makes some things harder. But she's still just her." Maya felt her throat tighten. Not everyone sees it that way. Then they're not looking properly. Harry set down his coffee mug. "Maya, I know I missed 5 years. I can't get that time back, but I'm here now and I'm paying attention to all of it. The good days and the hard days and everything in between." He proved it in a dozen small ways. He learned which movements hurt Ilara and which ones didn't. He figured out that she was self-conscious about her leg braces and never made a big deal about them. He discovered that she loved stories about brave princesses but hated stories where the princess needed rescuing. "She gets that from you," Harry told Maya. "Independence. The strength. She gets it from necessity," Maya replied. "We didn't have anyone to rescue us." Harry's jaw tightened. "You have someone now. Both of you do." Maya wanted to believe him, but belief required trust, and trust was something she'd learned to ration carefully. By the third week, Harry was coming by almost daily, sometimes just for an hour between meetings, still in his suit, sometimes for entire afternoons, dressed casually, fully committed to whatever activity Ilara wanted to do. Maya watched him prove himself, not with grand gestures or expensive gifts, but with presence. He showed up. Consistently, reliably. When he said he'd be there at 3 o'clock, he arrived at 2:55. He brought activities tailored to Ilara's abilities, puzzles with big pieces for when her fine motor control was struggling, audiobooks for days when she was too tired to focus on reading, and adaptive art supplies that made creating easier. But more than that, he brought himself, his attention, his genuine delight in getting to know his daughter. Maya caught herself softening toward him in moments she didn't expect. When he laughed at one of Ilara's nonsensical jokes. When he called from a business trip just to say goodnight to her. When he asked Maya's opinion about everything related to Ilara, never assuming his money gave him the right to make decisions. "You're different than I remember," Maya said one evening after Ilara had gone to bed and Harry was gathering his things to leave. "How so?" "Calmer. More grounded. The Harry I knew was brilliant but chaotic. Always 3 steps ahead, always moving." Harry smiled sadly. "Loss and responsibility age you. I learned to slow down, to be present. It took me too long to figure it out. But I got there eventually." "Better late than never," Maya said softly. "Is it though?" Harry asked. "Better late?" Because I look at everything I missed with her and wonder if late is just another word for too late. Maya's best friend Keisha came over on a Thursday evening, armed with Chinese takeout and pointed questions. She'd been hearing about Harry's visits for 3 weeks and had opinions. "So, let me get this straight," Keisha said, stabbing her chopsticks into her low mane. Billionaire baby daddy shows up after 6 years, throws money at the medical bills, and suddenly he's father of the year. It's not like that, Maya protested, though she knew how it sounded. Isn't it? Maya, I love you, but you're letting your guard down. I can see it happening. He's been good to her. To us. He's trying. Of course he's trying, Keisha interrupted. He's got unlimited resources and the best PR instincts money can buy. But what happens when the novelty wears off? When being a dad interferes with his empire? Maya set down her food, appetite gone. You don't know him. Neither do you. Not anymore. People change in 6 years. And powerful men. Keisha shook her head. They're used to getting what they want and moving on when it gets complicated. Elara isn't complicated. She's his daughter. Exactly. Keisha leaned forward, her voice softer now. She's his daughter, and she's falling in love with him. I see it, Maya. The way her face lights up when he walks in. The way she talks about Mr. Harry constantly. What happens to her when he decides this is too hard? He won't. You don't know that. And I need you to hear this because I'm your friend, and I love that little girl. Don't let your walls hurt Elara. If you're keeping him at arm's length because you're scared of getting hurt again, fine, that's your choice. But don't use her as an excuse. She deserves to have a father if he's genuinely committed. And if he's not, you need to figure that out now, before she's in too deep. Keisha's words haunted Maya over the next few days. She watched Harry with Elara more critically, looking for signs of waning interest or impatience. She found none. Then came the appointment that changed everything. Dr. Thorne had scheduled Elara for a new treatment protocol, a series of injections directly into her affected muscles to improve their function. It was cutting-edge, potentially transformative, and absolutely terrifying for a 5-year-old. Maya had tried to prepare Elara for it. They'd read books about being brave at the doctor. They'd practiced deep breathing. But when the day arrived, and they were in the treatment room, surrounded by medical equipment and strangers in scrubs, Elara's courage crumbled. I don't want to, she whimpered, pressing herself against Maya. Mommy, please. I don't want the shots. I know, baby. But they're going to help make your legs stronger. Remember? So you can run and play like other kids. I don't care about running. I just want to go home. The medical team waited patiently. They were used to this. Childhood fear was part of pediatric medicine. But Maya felt helpless, watching her brave daughter fall apart. Harry had been waiting outside, giving them privacy for the preparation. But Elara's cries carried through the door, and suddenly he was there, looking to Maya for permission to enter. She nodded, grateful for backup. Hey, sweetheart, Harry said gently, approaching slowly. I heard you're having a tough time. Elara just cried harder, her small body shaking. The nurse explained the procedure again, trying to reassure her. But Elara wasn't listening. She was lost in her fear, overwhelmed by the needles and the strangers, and the knowledge that this was going to hurt. I want my daddy. Elara suddenly screamed, the words torn from somewhere deep and desperate. I want my daddy to make it stop. The room went absolutely silent. Maya felt as if the floor had dropped out from under her. In 5 years, Elara had never said those words. She'd asked about daddies in abstract terms, wondered why she didn't have one, but she'd never cried out for someone who wasn't there. Except he was there. Harry stood frozen, his face a mask of shock and pain. His eyes found Maya's across the small treatment room, and in them she saw a desperate question. Maya thought about Keisha's warning, about walls and protection and fear. She thought about Elara's genuine terror, about the fact that she'd just cried out for a father in a moment of pure need. She thought about the past 3 weeks of watching Harry show up, day after day, learning and listening and loving their daughter with a dedication that money couldn't buy. Elara, Maya said, her voice shaking. She knelt down in front of her daughter, taking her tear-streaked face in both hands. Baby, look at me. Elara's sobs quieted to hiccups. Her eyes, so much like Harry's, focused on her mother. Maya took a deep breath. Behind her, she could feel Harry's presence, could sense him holding his breath, waiting. "Honey, I need to tell you something important. Something I should have told you before." "What?" Ilara's voice was small, scared. Maya glanced back at Harry. He was crying silently, one hand pressed to his mouth. She looked at the medical team, who were pretending to be very interested in their equipment, giving them a moment. She turned back to her daughter, to the brave little girl who deserved the truth. "Ilara, sweetie. Harry, ice your daddy." Ilara blinked, her tears stopping abruptly. She looked at her mother, then past her to where Harry stood, then back to Maya. "What?" "Mr. Harry is your daddy," Maya repeated, her voice steadier now that the words were out. "He's your father. He didn't know about you until a few weeks ago, but he's your dad." The room remained absolutely silent. Everyone waited for Ilara's reaction, screaming, more crying, confusion, anger. Maya braced herself for all of it. Instead, Ilara's small face scrunched up in thought. She looked at Harry for a long moment, studying him with that intense focus she got when she was working through a complicated problem. "I know," she said finally. Maya's breath caught. "What?" "I know he's my daddy." Ilara said it matter-of-factly, as if she was explaining that the sky was blue. "I figured it out." Harry made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. You knew?" Ilara nodded. "You both scrunch your nose the same way when you're thinking, and you have the same spot right here." She pointed to her chin, "where the dimple comes when you smile. And your eyes are the same shape as mine." Maya stared at her daughter in amazement. "How long have you known?" "Since the second time Mr. Harry visited. I asked Mrs. Chen next door if friends usually look like people, and she said sometimes families do. So I thought maybe—" Ilara trailed off, looking between them. "Are you mad I didn't say anything?" "Mad?" Maya pulled her into a fierce hug. "No, baby. I'm not mad. I'm amazed by how smart you are. I didn't say anything because you both seemed like you were keeping it a secret," Ilara explained onto Maya's shoulder. "And I thought maybe there was a good reason." "Was there a good reason, Mummy?" Maya pulled back, wiping her own tears now. "Yes, honey, there was a reason. I wanted to be sure that Harry was going to stay, that he really wanted to be your daddy before we told you, because I didn't want you to get hurt if I left," Harry finished quietly. He moved closer, kneeling down beside them. "Your mom was protecting you, because that's what she does. She's been protecting you and taking care of you your whole life." Ilara looked at him seriously. "Are you going to leave?" "No," Harry said firmly. "Never. I promise you, Ilara. I'm your dad, and I'm not going anywhere. Ever. Even when I'm scared of treatments. Especially then. Even when my legs don't work right and I can't do stuff other kids can do." Harry's voice broke. "Even then. Always. There is nothing that would make me leave you." Ilara was quiet for a moment, processing everything. Then she looked at the medical team waiting patiently, at the equipment that had terrified her moments ago. "Will you hold my hand?" she asked Harry. "During the treatment? Mommy always holds one hand, but if you held the other one, maybe it wouldn't be so scary." Harry's face crumpled with emotion. He reached out and took her small hand in his much larger one. "I would be honored to hold your hand. Today and every day you need me to—" Ilara turned to Maya. "Is it okay, Mommy? Can Daddy stay?" The word, Daddy, hit Maya like a freight train. She'd imagined this moment 1,000 different ways over the years, but never like this. Never in a hospital room with their daughter about to face something frightening. Never with such simple, innocent acceptance. "Yes, baby," Maya managed, her voice thick with tears. "Daddy can absolutely stay." Dr. Thorne stepped forward, his professional demeanor touched with warmth. "Are we ready to try again, Ilara?" Ilara looked scared still, but she nodded. She climbed onto the treatment table, positioning herself between her parents. Maya took her left hand, Harry her right. "Squeeze as hard as you need to," Harry told her. "We're both right here. We're not going anywhere." The procedure began. Ilara whimpered, and tears ran down her cheeks, but she didn't scream. She didn't try to pull away. She held onto both her parents and breathed through the pain, just like they'd taught her. "You're so brave," Maya whispered. "The bravest girl in the world." "We're so proud of you," Harry added, his thumb stroking gentle circles on the back of her hand. When it was over, Ilara sagged against Maya, exhausted but relieved. Harry kept holding her hand, unwilling to let go even as the medical team cleaned up and gave post-procedure instructions. "You did it," he told her softly. "That was so hard, and you were so incredibly brave." "I had help," Ilara mumbled sleepily. "I had my mommy and my daddy." Maya met Harry's eyes over their daughter's head. In his gaze she saw everything: gratitude, wonder, determination, and something else. Something that looked like the beginning of healing. They left the treatment room together, a family for the first time. Harry carried Ilara, her head resting on his shoulder, while Maya gathered their things. In the hallway, other families smiled at them, just another mom and dad with their child. Nothing unusual, nothing broken. Except everything had been broken, and somehow, in the span of 3 weeks and one terrifying treatment, they were beginning to piece themselves back together. "Thank you," Harry said quietly as they walked. "For telling her, for letting me be here." "Thank you for staying," Maya replied. "For proving Keisha wrong." "Keisha?" "My best friend. She warned me not to let my walls hurt Ilara. She was right." Harry adjusted Ilara in his arms, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "No more walls. From either of us. Just honesty from here on out. For her sake." "For all our sake," Maya agreed. In the parking lot, Harry helped secure Ilara in her car seat. She was already half asleep, the medication and emotional exhaustion catching up with her. "Will you come over later?" she asked drowsily. "After my nap? If your mom says it's okay, I'll be there," Harry promised. "It's okay," Maya said. "We'll see you later." As Harry walked to his own car, Maya watched him in the rearview mirror. He stood there for a moment, hand pressed to his chest as if trying to keep his heart from bursting out. Then he looked up at the sky, his lips moving in what might have been a prayer or a thank you. The truth was finally out. Their daughter knew her father. Their fractured family had a chance to become whole. The truth is finally out. Keep watching Mr. Steele Rich Stories to see what happens next. Maya started the car and headed home, glancing at Ilara sleeping peacefully in the back seat. In the space of 3 weeks, their entire world had shifted. And for the first time in 6 years, Maya felt like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. The late spring sunshine streamed through the windows of the Hawthorne Center's therapy room. As Ilara kicked her legs in the pool with a strength that had been impossible 6 months ago, Maya watched from the observation area, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Look, Mummy, look how far I can kick." Harry stood at the pool's edge, recording the moment on his phone like he did with every milestone. The physical transformation in Ilara was remarkable. Doctor Thorne had used that exact word. The treatments, the therapy, the specialized care, all of it was working. Over the past 6 months, they'd fallen into a careful rhythm. Harry had moved into an apartment 10 minutes away. He picked Ilara up from school twice a week. They had dinner together every Sunday. He attended every medical appointment, every therapy session, every parent-teacher conference, and he never touched Maya. Not beyond accidental brushes when passing Ilara between them. Not beyond the careful distance maintained on the couch during movie nights. They were TO parents, friends even, but there was a line neither of them crossed. Maya told herself it was better this way, safer. But late at night, she remembered the way Harry used to look at her, the future they'd once whispered about. She'd catch him watching her sometimes when he thought she wasn't looking, something longing and regretful in his eyes. They existed in a strange limbo, more than friends, less than partners, bound, together by their daughter, but separated by 6 years of hurt and secrets. Ilara's 6th birthday fell on a perfect Saturday in late May. The party was at Riverside Park, the one Maya had designed 5 years ago but never seen built until Harry had anonymously funded it 18 months earlier, bringing her abandoned dreams to life. The park filled with Ilara's friends, their families, and the small circle of people who'd supported Maya through the years. A cake shaped like a building sat on the picnic table. Harry arrived wearing a t-shirt Elara had made in art therapy that read, "Elara's Dad." When it came time for the cake, Elara closed her eyes tight to make her wish. Then she opened them, grinning, and announced loudly, "I wish that Mummy and Daddy would get married." The gathered crowd erupted in awkward laughter. Maya's face flamed red. Across the table, Harry froze, caught between hope and panic. "What?" "All my friends' parents are married," Elara said with innocent honesty. "You like Daddy, right? And Daddy likes you. I see how you look at each other when you think I'm not paying attention." The moment passed as attention shifted to serving cake, but Maya was hyper-aware of Harry's presence for the rest of the party. Every accidental touch, every shared glance over Elara's head felt charged with the weight of their daughter's very public wish. As the party wound down, Keisha swept Elara away for ice cream, deliberately giving Maya and Harry time alone. Maya ended up at the playground equipment she'd designed, sitting on a bench and staring at structures that had only existed in her imagination until Harry made them real. The weight of everything crashed over her, and tears came before she could stop them. Harry sat beside her, maintaining that careful distance they'd perfected. "Maya, talk to me." "I never stopped loving you," he said quietly when she couldn't find words. "Through everything, my father's death, the company, my marriage, the divorce. I never stopped loving you, but I didn't think I deserved you after everything." "You think you don't deserve me?" Maya's voice rose with disbelief. "Harry, I kept your daughter from you for 5 years. I made a choice based on pride and hurt feelings. I chose pride over truth. Can you forgive me?" Harry reached out and took her hand, the first real touch in 6 months. "There's nothing to forgive. We both made choices based on pain and fear. But Maya, we have now. We have Elara. This distance we've been maintaining isn't protecting anyone. It's just making all 3 of us lonely. What do you want?" Maya whispered. "Everything. You, Elara, a family. But I want to do this right. No more running, no more secrets, no more walls. Can we try? Friendship and trust first, then see where it leads." "I'd like that," Maya said. Harry lifted her hand to his lips. "Can I kiss you?" Not as Elara's father, just like Harry, the man who never stopped loving Maya. She nodded, and he leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to pull away. When his lips met hers, it was gentle, careful, and full of 6 years of longing and regret and hope. When they pulled apart, Maya whispered, "We should probably go pick up our daughter." "Our daughter," Harry repeated, smiling. "I'll never get tired of hearing that." Hand in hand, they walked toward their future. Slowly, honestly, together. The garden venue was decorated with white roses and soft golden lights strung between trees. Keisha's wedding was everything her best friend had dreamed of, elegant, joyful, and filled with the people who mattered most. Maya stood in the bridal suite, helping Keisha with her veil, her own eyes misty with happy tears. "Stop crying or you'll make me cry, and I just finished my makeup," Keisha warned, though her voice was thick with emotion. "I can't help it. You look beautiful," says the woman who's been glowing for the past year. Keisha turned from the mirror, taking Maya's hands. "I'm so happy for you, for all 3 of you. You found your way back to each other. We're taking it slow," Maya said, though the smile on her face told a different story. "Uh-huh. That's why Harry looks at you like you're the only person in the room. That's why Elara calls you the happiest mummy in the world." A knock at the door interrupted them. "5 minutes, ladies." Keisha squeezed Maya's hands. "Thank you for being here. For everything, always," Maya promised. Maya made her way to where the wedding party was assembling. Her breath caught when she saw Elara. Her daughter stood in a pale pink dress, holding a basket of rose petals, looking more confident than Maya had ever seen her. But what made Maya's eyes fill with tears were Elara's legs, strong, steady, supported by custom braces that Harry's biotech division had designed specifically for her. They were painted pink to match her dress, decorated with small silver stars that Elara had chosen herself. She wore them like accessories, not medical equipment. "Mummy, do I look pretty?" Ilara asked, spinning carefully. "You look absolutely beautiful, baby." Harry appeared beside them, devastatingly handsome in his suit. His eyes went soft when he saw Ilara. "You're going to steal the show from the bride?" "That's not allowed," Ilara said seriously. "Today is Auntie Keisha's special day. I'm just the flower girl. The most beautiful flower girl anyone has ever seen," Harry said, kneeling to adjust one of the stars on her brace. Maya watched them together, her heart so full it ached. The music began, and the wedding party filed out. Maya took her place as maid of honor, walking down the aisle before the bride. From her position at the altar, she had a perfect view of the guests. Then came Ilara. She walked down the aisle with careful, deliberate steps, her gait slightly uneven but strong. She scattered rose petals with concentration and pride, and the gathered guests smiled with genuine warmth. Maya's eyes found Harry in the third row. He was recording on his phone, of course, but tears streamed down his face. Their eyes met across the ceremony space, and he mouthed, "She's perfect." Maya nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. When Ilara reached the front, she took her place beside Maya, reaching up to hold her hand. "I did it, Mommy. I didn't fall once. You were amazing, sweetheart." The ceremony was beautiful. Keisha and her partner exchanged vows that spoke of patience, forgiveness, and choosing love daily. Maya found herself thinking about her own journey, the pain, the secrets, the slow rebuilding of trust. Keisha caught her eye during the vows and winked, as if to say, "Your turn is coming." The reception was in full swing when Harry found Maya on the terrace, taking a moment away from the noise and celebration. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. "Hiding?" he asked, coming to stand beside her at the railing. "Just taking it all in. Weddings make me emotional." "Me too." He was quiet for a moment, then reached into his jacket pocket. "I have something to show you." He pulled out a folded piece of paper. "Blueprints," Maya realized as he unfolded them on the terrace railing. "What's this?" "Remember the empty lot next to Riverside Park? The one you said would be perfect for a community center?" Maya's heart began to race. "Harry, I bought it. Well, my foundation bought it. But I want you to design it." His voice was steady, but his hands trembled slightly. "Build something beautiful there, Maya. Something that helps families like ours, like Ilara's. A place where kids with disabilities can learn and play and just be kids." Maya stared at the blueprints, at the rough sketches Harry had already made based on conversations they'd had months ago. He'd been listening, planning, dreaming alongside her. Harry, this is incredible. It's your vision. I'm just providing the canvas." He turned to face her fully, his expression open and vulnerable. "And maybe we could build something beautiful together too." Maya's breath caught. "What do you mean?" "No rush," he said quickly. "No pressure. Just possibility. We've spent the past year rebuilding trust, becoming friends again, co-parenting. And Maya, every day I fall more in love with you. Every day I see the woman you've become, stronger, wiser, more beautiful than I remembered. Harry, I'm not asking for marriage. Not yet. I'm just asking if you can see a future where we're more than co-parents, where we're partners, where we build a life together, not just a parenting schedule." Maya felt tears streaming down her face. "I can see it. I've been seeing it for months but was afraid to say anything." Before Harry could respond, a small voice called out from the terrace doorway. "There you are. I've been looking everywhere." Ilara ran toward them, actually ran, her movements more fluid than they'd been even months ago. The braces and therapy and constant care were giving her the mobility every child deserved. She crashed into both of them, wrapping her arms around their legs. "What are you doing out here? You're missing the dancing." Harry scooped her up, settling her on his hip. "We were just talking about the future." "What about the future?" Maya moved closer, completing their circle. "About building something together. A community center for kids like you." "That's cool. Can it have a purple pool like the one at the Hawthorne Center?" "Absolutely," Harry said, his eyes on Maya. "Anything you want." "Family hug," Elara demanded, and they obliged, the three of them wrapped in each other's arms. Maya rested her head against Harry's shoulder, breathing in the moment. Elara between them, the setting sun warming their faces, the sound of celebration drifting from inside. "You know what?" Maya whispered. "We don't need to build something beautiful together. We already are." Harry pulled back to look at her, understanding dawning in his eyes. "Elara, not just Elara. This, us, the family we're creating day by day, the trust we're rebuilding, the love we're choosing." Elara looked between them, sensing something important even if she didn't understand all the words. "Are you being mushy?" "Auntie Keisha says you two are always being mushy lately." Harry laughed, the sound full of joy. "Maybe a little bit." "That's okay. I like when you're mushy. It means you're happy." Elara wiggled to be put down. "Can we go dancing now?" "They're playing good songs." "Go ahead, sweetie. We'll be right behind you," Maya said. Elara ran back inside, her laughter trailing behind her like music. Harry took Maya's hand, interlacing their fingers. "She's right, you know. I am happy. Happier than I have any right to be after everything. We both are, and we both deserve it." They stood on the terrace a moment longer, watching through the windows, as Elara danced with Keisha, spinning and laughing without fear. "Ready to go back in?" Harry asked. "Together? Always together." From now on, they walked back into the reception hand in hand. Inside, Elara spotted them and ran over, grabbing both their hands. "Come dance with me. This is a family dance." And so they danced, the three of them, Elara swinging between her parents. Other guests smiled at them, seeing what Maya now understood they'd been building all along. Not a perfect family, but a real one, built on honesty, forgiveness, and the daily choice to love each other. As the evening wound down and they prepared to leave, Elara walked between Maya and Harry through the garden, holding both their hands. Every few steps, she'd jump, and they'd swing her up into the air, her delighted squeals filling the night. "Again, again," she demanded. They obliged, swinging her higher, her joy infectious and pure. Maya looked across their daughter at Harry, finding him already watching her with that expression. She'd come to treasure, love, gratitude, wonder, and promise all wrapped into one. "Thank you," he mouthed. "For what?" "For this, for her, for us, for giving me a second chance." "We gave each other a second chance," Maya corrected. He smiled, and it was the smile she'd fallen in love with years ago, the one that still made her heart skip. Sometimes the best foundations are built on forgiveness, second chances, and choosing. Love every single day, Maya thought, watching her daughter swing between them. They'd started with secrets and pain, with years lost and words unsaid. They'd built walls to protect themselves and nearly lost each other completely, but they'd also built bridges back to each other, built trust from honesty, built a family from broken pieces, and they were still building, one day at a time, one choice at a time, one moment of love at a time. The architecture of their love wasn't perfect, but it was real, and it was theirs, and it was enough, more than enough. It was everything. Thank you for joining this journey. Subscribe to Mr. Steele Rich Stories, hit that notification bell, and share this story with someone who believes in second chances. Comment below, what would you have done? Would you have told him about the pregnancy? Would you have given him a second chance? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to like this video. Until next time, remember, love isn't about perfect timing, it's about perfect commitment.